folks, Phil Gallagher here for another week of Daily D&T. This week is brought to you by Maxamilion S. Thank you very much for supporting my content. And today I decided we would play with some Squadron Hawks. I saw XJ Cloud post about it a few days ago as of the time of recording, and, it doesn't take much for me to want to play a silly list in a league. So if you haven't played the Squawk build before, you're playing Squadron Hawks alongside Force of Virtue. So you get sort of an anthem effect. You cast a Squadron Hawk, you draw 3 of these, you can pitch one of the Squadron Hawks to get a Force of Virtue for free, notably on your opponent's turn, or you can just hard cast this and turn a bunch of birds sideways. This helps you to play against Plague Engineers and things of that nature, and it can be pretty strong. Most of the stuff that I'm doing here is pretty stock, except for this. Don't judge me. I really want to play with this card. Like, so many people are playing these, like, Oko mid-range decks that it seems like this can just really, really punish them hard. Like, protection from Elks, protection from Oko, and you know what? Let's just get a Wolf, too, for good measure. So that's my fun of for the week. With that being said, most of the rest of the stuff that's here is pretty normal. We don't have as many Recruiters, Palace Jailers, and Moms, just to kind of make room for Force of Virtue and Squadron Hawks. And we also drop Revoker from the list. Because I'm dropping Revoker, it's possible that I should play a Pithing Needle over like one of the Gideons or the Walking Ballista, or my fun of, but I'm hitting submit and you can't stop me. The lag there was very anticlimactic. Okay. Not Legacy Challenge. Just Legacy League, please. Okay, there's a lot of these Legacy preliminaries. I apparently need to learn what those are. Alright, but that's a job for future Phil. Given how many of them there are, they must just be some sort of, like, nightly small challenge or something like that. I think Moto changes just went live as of today when I'm recording this, I think. Or if not today, yesterday. Oh, we're so loud. Down you go. We have a great hand. Note that this build is going to be a little softer to combo than traditional D&T because you don't have the Revokers in the main deck. Burn? It's not snow covered, so it's probably either Burn or Red Prison. Just small tip, please play snow covered lands as of right now. They're really important for bluffing things. Chalice on 0 and 1. Surprise. It was me, Death and Taxes, the whole time. That's actually a slight annoyance. I don't have a third land yet. And it kind of hampers my whole Squadron Hawk plan. If my opponent can now follow this up with a threat, they might be in a really good position. Like, Chandra Torch of Defiance here is horrifying. Yeah, that too. I have to make a choice this turn about what I'm playing to the board. I can play the Sanctum Prelate on 6 to prevent Mycosynth Lattice Lock. I can play it on 3 to prevent Ensnaring Bridge from coming down. I only get Lattice Locked if my opponent has another Soul Land as their last card in hand. or their draw for turn. I think given this Trinosphere, I'm probably pretty hard-pressed to win the game. Through a bridge. I think I'm going to try to dodge a soul land this turn and play Sanctum Prelate. And if they soul land me, they soul land me. We're getting a little punished for playing a For Funsies build. You know, this very potentially could have been one of my 2 to 3 Revokers, which would have been insane on that board. But I regret nothing. The next question is, what sort of baddies does my opponent have in the sideboard? A liquid metal coating can be annoying. A walking ballista really would kind of suck. A Wormcoil Engine's not the end of the world. A Sorcerer's Spyglass isn't the end of the world. Oh. Destroy their own chalice to imprint something? To pay 3 mana for Chrome Mox to imprint something. Alright. Opponent going pretty darn deep for the Mycosynth Lattice Lock. So obviously, I'll just do everything I can to prevent that. So I can either blink my Rishadan Port to port down 2 mana, or I can just permanently destroy a Chrome Mox. I think I'm going to permanently destroy this. And note, if my opponent wasn't hellbent, I would obviously go and attack prior to doing this. Our position has gotten much better. So opponent A can't lattice us, B can't really defend the Karn. They can't wish for Ensnaring Bridge. And if they had a Ballista, I probably would have seen that previously. So life is probably good. I was thinking about something. I don't know what that something is. It could have been they were thinking about whether or not they want to like plus on the Trinosphere to like turn it into a body that can block Prelate. It isn't until your next turn, right? Yeah. Alright, so they're going to get an Ensnaring Bridge even though they can't cast it right now. That will allow a top deck Fiery Confluence to give them a way to get back into the game. Alright, so let's do the easy part of the turn first. That attacks Karn, this attacks them. They're going to go to 12 and have a dead Karn. Now, I can port them off of Fiery Confluence or Chandra, but then I can't also progress my board. I have a... three-turn clock as is. That's pretty good. But even something as simple as a Spirit Guide turns that into not a three-turn clock. I can play the sword and turn it into a two-turn clock. But then the Fire Confluence just gets better because it's 2 damage to each creature plus destroy the sword. So that would play further into Fiery Confluence. How conservative do I want to play? Can't play a sword due to Sanctum Prelate. Honestly, that all just makes me want to port, now that I realized I was being a dummy. I would really just, like, my best drop is just a land, so I can play a spell while also porting. Alright, now porting has lost basically all of its value. Because I cannot port them off of a Fiery Confluence anymore. I want to present lethal next turn in one way or another. I need to add 2 power to the board. None of these plays do that. Only Sword of Fire and Ice does that. That's super awkward. Actually, I guess this does the same thing. Because it allows me to connect with the Sword of Fire and Ice. Okay. Good enough. Please don't draw Fiery Confluence. Chandra's fine. I don't care about Chandra. Chandra Awakened Inferno, on the other hand, would be spicy, but I don't know if my opponent's playing that. Okay, there's the top deck Fiery Confluence. Opponent's last card is Ensnaring Bridge. So if I play Thalia, it costs them all 4 of their mana to play that bridge. I can very easily, like, Recruiter for Flickerwisp and present lethal at some point this game. Porting this turn does nothing. Squadron Hawks aren't great. Recruiter for Wisp is something that needs to happen at some point this game, but that doesn't really need to happen until a little bit later. Let's play the thing that will make it most awkward for them to double spell. There's also an argument for just playing a 1/1 there, since a 1/1 can guaranteed attack in this turn. Or I guess not guaranteed if they draw land. So note, any 4-drop they draw, like Karn or Chandra, does cost them life via Ancient Tomb. And now I can just do something like, say I draw a land, I can just put a Batterskull on board, and then that'll be the 7 power that I need. I'll just Flicker Wisp out Bridge, and Bob's your uncle. Bone Crusher Giant is a touch annoying, but it's not that big of a deal. You know, it's a removal spell. It's sort of interesting in that it's something that can like sit in the exile zone and not in hand for Ensnaring Bridge. So there's some cool synergy there. And now opponent is just considering whether or not they want to lose 2 life to put that into play. Force of Virtue, not quite what we're looking for here, given Trinisphere. So this isn't actually free on my opponent's turn, unfortunately. So my opponent's at 5 now. So this is 4, 5 with Recruiter. So play Sword. Equip Sword. That represents the lethal damage, and Flicker Wisp will flicker out the bridge. So as long as opponent does not produce another bridge this turn, I have the game on my turn. Yeah, that does not do it. Do they think I'm not going to shoot them? All right, what do I like? Yes, 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 maybe? All right. What was I doing previously? A very different build, obviously. But previously I was going, get rid of one of these, get rid of these, just kind of like play around Chalice a little bit, since it's something that gets annoying. And I usually have Miracle Crusaders to go and get rid of. So those were what I was cutting previously. If I want to bring in both of the Gideons, I would need to cut one more card. It's not like the Gideon is amazing. but it has some neat utility in that if you get stuck behind a bridge, it just creates a wall of 2/2s, and then when you actually get a Flicker Wisp or a Council's Judgment, you can just swing for lethal very, very, very easily. The only thing about playing Gideon, though, is that this would drop me to 19 creatures, which is a touch lower than I like to drop. I try not to drop under 20 creatures. And I'm cutting 5 here. Eh. I'm going to run it anyway. My early decision to play Prelate on 3 really paid out for me that game. Yep, I will keep this hand. No doubt. It has something for a Rabble Master start, and then it has multiple things that attack the slower prison-y side. So even though our hand doesn't, they just F6 through their turn. I mean, we take those. Oh, friend. Oh, friend. You're not going to be happy about this. What are you going to do with your 2 colorless mana at instant speed? Warping Whale me? Make a 1/1? I wonder if my opponent is new to Red Prison. Or new to Moto. We've kind of gotten 2 time walks this game. Wow. The first one of these is going to go on 3 to prevent Soul Land into, say, Ensnaring Bridge or something like that from being an annoyance. Then on their turn, if they don't play a creature, I'm just going to Force of Virtue, pitching Swords to Plowshares, and then I'll play a Prelate on 4. And then that'll stop Fiery Confluence from sweeping away both of my creatures. How much does Bone Crusher Giant do? Is it 2? And I can, Mise them with Force of Virtue? Delicious. Delicious. Ugh. I enjoyed that. This league has been worth it already. So I don't get to wasteland them this turn, but that's whatever. They can know that's coming. I don't care. I might be Council's Judgmenting a vanilla 4-3 because my board state is so strong. So about the only way I see myself losing is to something crazy like a Chandra Awakened Inferno or something like that. Magus of the Moon. Nice 2-2, fool. 3-3s rule the world. I also may Council's Judgment away this Chrome Mox. I haven't decided how greedy I'm going to be yet. I think the answer is not that greedy. Oh, right. This is shut off before someone in chat yells at me. Symmetrical effects. Now I think I'll just sit back. My opponent can't really attack with the Bone Crusher Giant, otherwise I swing back in a terrible fit of retribution. Like, they would hit me for 4, I would hit them for 6. And that race very, very much favors me. So that makes me think they have another Bone Crusher Giant. Or this is a bluff attack because they think they can't win. I don't want to play this. If I block Magus of the Moon, I can end of combat port them to keep them from playing a real 3-drop this turn. And then it unlocks my Council's Judgment so I can do something on my turn. Because if I just let them, if they have another Bone Crusher Giant and they go to second main phase and they just cast it, then I'm kind of behind in terms of the race. So like I would take 6, go to 12. I can't, yeah. I think I'm okay with blocking. Sulfur Elemental is a little devastating. Oops, I forgot to end of combat port, but looks like it doesn't matter. Alright, I'm not sure that I 100% understand everything that has happened here. But I'm happy nevertheless. Maybe some of my opponent's outs involved their Magus being dead and them top decking a City of Traders. Just like trying to understand it from their perspective. That Sanctum Prelate on 4 is doing work. So this leaves you dead on board. So yes, I will take the damage and not Swords to Plowshares that. I mean, we get there. I'm a little confused about some things that occurred that match, but we got there. I hope you're enjoying this. We'll be back tomorrow.